no, 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 Rafe exclaimed. Oh, man, he said desperately as she retched, and then he made a hacking noise like he was trying to keep from vomiting, too. When she had emptied the contents of her stomach into that can, Hallie collapsed, face down onto her pillow. I thought you were supposed to be a tough army guy. I am a tough army guy, but my gag reflex is a baby. She felt his weight lift up off the bed with the can. Don't throw up until I get back, he warned her. She heard him go into her bathroom, heard water running, heard him muttering. Why was Rafe still here? What was good old Rafael, the ranch major domo's very hot oldest son and Hallie's lifelong friend, doing at Three Rivers at all? She thought he split his time between San Antonio and Chicago. Wasn't he moving there soon? When they were children, Martin would bring his kids, Rafe, who was her brother Nick's age, and Rico, who was the same age as Hallie and her twin Luca, and Angie, the youngest of them all, to the main compound on weekends, and they would swim, or her dad would grill burgers for them. Rafe was a lot like Nick, the steady, dependable son in the family. Rico was a party animal, and if he were around last night, he would have told her to move over and let him drive to Houston. Angie was the squirt some adult was always shouting at them to watch. Thank God it was steady Rafe who'd happened upon her last night. Hallie couldn't begin to remember what she'd done. But whatever it was, she was pretty sure she was going to want to open the window and dive headfirst into the bushes below. Rafe reappeared, sans can, and stood over her, studying her very closely, like a lab specimen. Stop looking at me like that. I'm hideous. I could die, she said, mortified. You're not hideous, he said, as if she still had a few steps to go before she reached the certifiably hideous level. You just look a little beat up. I think the dark circles under your eyes. Okay, she said, weakly waving her hand at him. Don't tell me. He patted her shoulder. Look at the bright side. You're probably going to live. Do I have a choice? No. What's the dark side? The dark side is you won't believe you're going to live until tomorrow. Great. Maybe you should have a little hair of the dog that bit you. You might feel better. No, Hallie moaned and squeezed her eyes shut as she swallowed down a swell of nausea. Don't even say it. How about food? Do you think you could keep something down? Stop talking. She rolled over onto her back and squinted up at him. What happened last night? Rafe smiled, very slowly and very sexily. That smile used to drive her friends crazy with lust. I don't even know where to begin. Must have been epic. No wonder her head was pounding. Pretty spectacular, Rafe agreed. Hallie groaned and rolled onto her side, away from him. She wasn't much of a drinker, so she would lay the blame for however she might have humiliated herself squarely at the feet of her recent ex-fiancé, Christopher. Everything was his fault. Her terrible, piteous mood was his fault. Her 5-pound weight gain was definitely his fault. She wouldn't be the least bit surprised if even the Israeli-Palestinian conflict could be traced back to him. She could clearly remember rambling around the 20,000 square feet of the main house at Three Rivers Ranch, where she, a grown woman of 30 years, was living with her mother, God help her, and her grandmother, adding salt to the wound since 1936. Nick and Luca came by a couple of times a week to check on things, but all of them had been out last night and left Hallie alone in abject peril. Because without any good reality TV to distract her, she had only her thoughts to keep her company. Anyone who knew her knew that being alone with her thoughts was a train wreck waiting to happen. Well, she'd pumped that locomotive right into a ditch. Oh, but she'd worked herself into a good lather over Chris. She could remember coming up with the brilliant idea that she ought to drive to Houston and confront him and her supposed bridesmaid Danny, whom she'd last seen naked beneath Chris. Hallie could even remember convincing her weakly responsible self that she wasn't that drunk, that she could make the 3-hour drive to Houston no problema. She could vaguely remember putting on her reception dress with the dumb idea that